David L. Sutton, and I'm here today to warn Christianity. Christians, beware. Jesus is coming soon, but God is not pleased with Christianity. We all know the story how Jesus was arrested, taken out of the Garden of Gethsemane at night, and taken to a court held by the high priest at that time. When they finished with Jesus, they were disgusted at him. They beat him up, spit in his face, treated him like a dog, an animal, sent him off to the Roman governor Pilate. Pilate didn't want anything to do with him, with the situation. He thought he was an innocent man, maybe a little messed up in the head, but still innocent. The Jews wanted Pilate to kill Jesus, to crucify him. So what Pilate did, he said he would scourge him and let him go. But this wasn't good enough for the Jews. They wanted more. So Pilate had to finally give in, and he had Jesus, well, not really 100% his fault, because when he turned Jesus over to the Roman soldiers, it seemed like the devil himself got into them. Instead of just scourging him, at that time they used to beat a man with a whip, give him about 39 lashes, because more than that would kill a person. But they just went on and beat Jesus unmerciful. They took whips with pieces of bone in them or pieces of metal in it and continued beating him unmerciful. Scripture says his visage was marred more than any other man, and so was his body. In other words, Jesus was beaten so bad, if you laid him down on the ground, he would look like roadkill. He would look like a car, well, back in that day, a chariot. It would look like a chariot ran over him, and you wouldn't even know that he was a man. His bed was partially torn out. He had thorns upon his head. He was completely beaten up. But the thing about it is, most of us don't know how bad this beating was. For many years, I often said to myself, it couldn't have been that bad. Many people get beat up and make it after that. But the thing about this beating that Jesus took, he was beaten, as I like to say, beyond death. He should have died with the beating that he took. But God would not let him die because he wanted him to die on the cross. He wouldn't let all the stripes that fell down upon his body, he wouldn't let the beating that he took kill him, and Jesus was no stronger than anybody else. But the thing is, God, as I say, took death away from him. He had to go beyond what the natural man has to endure. He went into as I say, a new chamber. He passed into a new chamber, into a real hurt locker. When they finished beating Jesus, they made him start his journey onto Golgotha. They put the cross, or at least part of the cross. We don't know whether it had all the parts to it or just one section, and then they added the rest as he got up there. But as he was on his way to Golgotha, he tripped and fell and staggered under the weight of the heavy burden. The splinters digging into his back, he could barely make it. So someone else, Simon, had to carry it the rest of the way for him. When he got up to Golgotha, they laid the cross down on the ground and assembled it completely. Then they laid Jesus upon the cross, blood trickling profusely from his brow. blood, sweat, spit, all of this trickling down from his head, all over his body, completely torn apart. In fact, when he got up on the cross, he said, "Mama, look at me. Woman, behold thy son." Because she couldn't figure out what this big blob, this mess was that's on the cross. Is this my baby? She didn't know that was Jesus, only because there was 3 people that were supposed to die that day. 2 of them she could recognize, but this big chunk of meat, this mess on the cross, who was this? Woman, behold thy son. When they put him on the cross, they put you and me. Our mess was placed there. He did no wrong, but our mess was placed on the cross. In other words, our get out of jail free card was placed there. But the first big mistake that Christianity made was they took that get out of jail free card away from all other mankind, and they held it or took it and kept it for themselves. Christianity kept this for themselves. They laid Jesus on the cross, and when they began raising it up, they changed the whole world right then and there. Everything in the world changed when they raised that cross up. Why is that? 3 years before Jesus started on his missionary journey, he said these words, which Christians disregard today. They disregard these words of Jesus as if he never said them. From church to church all around the world, wherever there's Christians, they all disregard what he said. He said, "And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me." Christianity stood there 2,000 years ago, and Christianity is standing here this morning. Christianity will be standing there on Sunday morning and say, "Jesus, you're a liar. You're only taking we Christians, or us Christians, back to heaven and to hell with the rest of the world." Christianity has cornered Jesus for themselves. It took one man to put this world into condemnation, and it took one man to take it out. And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. If Christians don't settle that point, there's going to be 2 lines assembled before the Christ. They'll get to heaven, of course, but remember 2 lines: rewards and loss of rewards. It's my personal estimation, my personal thing, that 95% of Christians will not get rewards because they call Jesus a liar. And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. Yet we have Christians going around saying, hurry up and accept the Lord before it's too late. Too late for what? Yes, they'll miss heaven, but because I live, ye shall live also. It is high time. We haven't much time left. It is high time that all Christians learn to believe in that verse. And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. What he was saying was, if you crucify me, I'll save the world. If, as nowadays, if a man kills another man, we say, you're going to get the chair. What does that mean? Does that mean that person is going to have a truck from Raymond Flanagan pull up in front of his house and give him a sofa, a love seat, a rocking chair? No, that's slang. That means you're going to get the electric chair and killed in the electric chair. Way back in Jesus' day, they had slang also. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun. If you kill a person or rob someone back in Bible times, they said you're going to be lifted up, which means the Romans will lift you up and put you on a cross. So when Jesus said, and if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me, he meant, if you crucify me, I'll save the world. Don't worry about how I'm going to do it. Don't worry about how many sinners have sinned. Don't worry about the Hitler that has killed 60 million people. Remember, a song that they sing in many holiness churches that they don't seem to understand. They say, Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin hath left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. If he paid it all, what more is there to pay? Jesus paid it all. And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. Christians, stop telling Jesus he's a liar. There's not much time left. You know that. You know that we're in the wicked day. Read those scriptures again. But when you read John 12:32, read the next verse. That explains what he meant. That definitely explains what he meant. Now it's up to you to get down on your knees, ask your Father to give you understanding. Shalom.